Turn this on, bitch around. Hey, gang. Whoa, shit. Shoot, sorry. As it were. Hello, my English friends. What? I did invite him. Jeez. No, I can't. Hello. Same one. There he is. It's Pat. You look so much better, dude. Your camera is so much sweeter. I'm all like I'm in a whatever.
Well, it's because you have that. It's because you have that angelic halo over your head.
Yeah, I know. Let me get rid of that. There we go. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, champ?
I'm doing good, buddy. Doing good. Staying busy.
Every day above ground's a good day. I agree. So, how's everybody doing out there in Facebook land?
Say that to a coal miner.
Say what?
Say that to a coal miner.
Yeah, I know, right? So everybody apparently survived.
Did you?
Say it to a coal miner? That's one of my lines. As far as having a horrible job or something?
No, every day above ground's a good day.
Oh shit! I always use that phrase when people bitch about their job. I'm like, hey, you're not a Chilean coal miner, so pump the brakes. You know, there are worse jobs to have.
I remember yelling that at fighters when they were complaining about practice. Everything was because I poured so much concrete for 4 years while I was training for fights until I could finally afford to quit that job. That every time they'd complain, I'd say, "Shut up! You could be pouring concrete right now."
Yeah, you know what I mean. Have a little perspective, gang. There are definitely worse jobs and worse situations to be in. So, the reason for the season, we've all been entertained by the WWE, right? The wonderful Washington entertainment over the last, I don't know, several years, but certainly the last 24 hours has brought some interesting stuff going on, dude. What are your thoughts on the midterms? And everybody else, please chime in. What are your thoughts on what we saw last night? And
let's start first. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. We have to tell the people that our day got completely derailed today because we were supposed to do a podcast today with someone, and that has been delayed till Monday.
We could even. Well, he just didn't confirm back. Former heavyweight champion of the world, gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion, and former gold medalist George Foreman will be joining us Monday at noon. It's a lock. Well, it's 98.9% lock. He's a busy guy, as you well know. As he celebrated last week, he was in Mexico celebrating, I think it was the 50-some years of winning the gold medal. And then just the other day was the anniversary of him winning the heavyweight championship for the second time, knocking out Michael Moore.
Dude,
so, that did throw our day up a little bit.
I hung out with Michael Moore one night down in Miami, Florida, and asked him about that fight. And I asked him, I said, how hard does George Foreman hit? And he goes, I can't even explain it. He goes, I literally cannot explain it. It is ungodly that hard. It's that ridiculous.
He's seen, I mean, obviously the last thing to go is power, but I mean, you know, listen to him talk about it, and I'm going to have him talk about it again, how he set it up, how that 1-2 didn't get that time. We just lowered it a little bit. Boom, boom, just got him right on the mush.
The mush.
It hit him, dude.
Yeah, you know, I think that a lot of people, from what I was gathering on social media today, you know, some of the folks who were voting, you know, for the blue were rubbing it in a little bit and gloating and very happy. Rightly so, of course. The blue wave. They got control of Congress and I mean, I don't know. Even if I was a Democrat, do I really want Nancy Pelosi in charge of anything? I don't know.
They got control of the House. Like the Senate's still with the Republicans.
I just want control of Nancy Pelosi's meds. Let's be honest.
She's so pulled like weirdly kind of reptilian. It's kind of scary. That wasn't really. Brother. There was, again, you know, it's not a right-left thing for me, but it's like nothing last night was, normally the House in power or whatever normally loses seats during the midterms. I mean, Obama, I think he lost like 63 in his first term or second. I mean, it's not unheard of. So what happened last night wasn't really a huge blue wave, as they called it. If anything, the Republicans kind of scored with all those seats in the Senate because now they can do these confirmations for, judicial confirmations, cabinet confirmations. So, I mean,
right.
It's interesting.
Well, yeah, Obama's were record number losses. So, yeah, it's customary that the sitting president does lose midterm. So it was kind of expected. But, we all had our fingers crossed that we would have the House, the Senate, the White House, and, the Supreme Court, of course. So.
What do you think? I think I was talking to you last night a little bit about. What do you think that would have looked like? What would they have woken up today if they would have just ran the table? House, Senate, Oval Office. I mean, obviously they have the Oval Office, but what would what would it be like today if they didn't get the House and they lost the Senate? You know what I mean?
Oh, you're saying if Republicans lost the House and the Senate?
No, if the Republicans won the House and the Senate, what do you think the Democrats, especially, last night the blue wave didn't exactly.
Well, they'd be warming up the buses that were going to be hauling Antifa. Let's be honest.
Soros would have broke the checkbook out, huh?
It's already broke out, dude. He already put that in the trust fund. That thing is $17 billion deep, and they're just they're just skimming the interest off the top of that to continually fund this war against America, the Constitution, everything else. And so it's a never-ending thing until somebody figures out a way to get to that money and shut this thing down. It's political war. It's digital warfare. It's everything, man. It's media warfare, social media warfare. It's crazy.
Did you see the it was essentially a press briefing in it wasn't really the press room, but Rand Paul. Jim Acosta refused to give up the microphone. He refused to come off the mic. He's like, you're done. And the lady was trying to take the mic from him, and he like strong-armed her. He like, get the fuck off me, and held onto the mic. I was like, wow, this guy. And Trump, you could tell he wanted to lay one of them Vince McMahon's clotheslines on him. He gave him that look like, dude, if these people weren't around here.
Yeah, poor Jimmy. Jimmy's got issues, attention whore, whatever he is, I don't know. But he's employed by the perfect people. He really is. CNN is where he belongs. He does a great job for CNN. I really truly believe that CNN is that corrupt, and it's fine. And I've said it many times. I've even tweeted him and said you contain more drama than a house full of teenage girls, dude. It's brutal.
Yeah, he kind of he got his pump card pulled today, dude. Trump really wasn't having that. But so less than an hour after that whole thing goes down, he sacks Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And then I guess you sent me the message that Rosenstein was on his way to the White House, which I think he's probably there now.
Having an interesting conversation, I'm sure. And Jeff Sessions, I think his job, I think Sessions did his job, but I think that Sessions, because he recused himself from the Russia investigation and everything else, I think that his usefulness now is up. He's done a great job behind the scenes. I believe that Trump thinks that. I think that Trump, though, and Sessions both understand that his usefulness is now done, considering the next phase of things that are about to go down. And you and I have talked about that stuff quite a bit, and some interesting thoughts I think that you and I have in regards to and everybody's been wondering. My good friend, I won't say his name just in case his job might get him thrown under the bus, but has been messaging me going, dude, where is the FISA, the unredacted FISA documents? What's going on with that? What's going on with that? It was getting ready to be released. It was on his, and the documents were put on his desk. I think Sessions, was it Sessions that refused to do that? I'm trying to remember. Or was it?
I'm not sure. Well, this kind of goes, I don't exactly. I don't. But this goes to something I sent you that somebody sent me, and I'm going to read it right here. Peeps, we lost the House. Now listen to what just hit me. An epiphany. Trump never wanted to win the House. Remember, he was going to declassify FISA documents 2 months ago, but played chess and stopped the declassification. 2 weeks ago, Trump said he was going to wait to declassify FISA until after the midterm. Now, Q has said more than 10 times in various posts, FISA brings down the House, the effing House of Representatives. So
this is,
it could
that
be
goes that and that. A lot of people might need you to read that like 7 times for it to sink in. But when Trump left those documents on his desk and did not release them before the midterms, and he said, "I'm going to wait until after the midterms," I don't think it sank in fully on very many people that he was sitting back and allowing the midterms to happen. And then when he releases those, because as that message said, the FISA brings down the House, does that refer directly to Congress? I mean, it absolutely could. And it's bizarre to think about the level of chess that man is playing, if that's exactly what he's doing. He's always been 1 step ahead, 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead of all these morons in D.C., dude. Why wouldn't he not still be 4 steps ahead of them? I'm telling you. So this could be, I don't even know how to explain how big that is. That's the biggest, most amazing political move ever in the history of mankind. Nothing even remotely comes close to it, because those FISA documents.
If that's what's happening.
I think that's exactly what's happening.
If that's what he's doing.
But he got rid of Sessions. He got rid of Sessions because of the recusing himself from the Russia investigation, the Mueller stuff. All of this stuff is tied to the FISA. Sessions has to be removed. A new hardcore prosecutor has to be brought in. And Rosenstein, for whatever part he's playing, I think in the end, does Trump have Mueller and Rosenstein over a barrel on all this stuff? Are they guilty? Because, of course, Trump's going to know the truth because he's got military intelligence that's going to show him everything, right? If he's got the right people behind him.
Right.
So he's got those guys' balls on a chopping block, basically.
And see, and that's part of that whole kind of Q, and I do recall Q making those statements about the FISA document being so impactful for the House of Representatives. Now, you already have Chuck Schumer asking for the guy who's replacing Sessions to step down because he's made statements about the fact that the Russian investigation has gone too far. So Schumer's already calling that out, but asking for him to step down because he has an opinion that the shit's gone too far, which, 2 years in, like, what do we actually have as it relates to collusion? Like he said, Manafort, some tax shit with the Ukrainians 10 years ago, all these people had nothing to do with the actual crime. You got Stormy Daniels and paying hookers.
Stuff, dude. Think about how Lindsey Graham has completely turned the corner. Lindsey Graham.
Yeah. All of them, dude. Honestly, I thought about that too. All of them. They all were talking shit about Trump when he first came in, and now they're all pretty much jumping on his dick. Pardon my language. Jumping. Yeah.
You are so unprofessional.
I apologize. It's that big fat paycheck I'm getting that keeps me so professional.
Right. No, I think that this is potentially the biggest development. The fact that he waited until after the midterms to just go ahead and clean house afterward. Think of all that.
Well,
think of all the money dumped into all those campaigns of all the corrupt bastards that potentially could be affected by the FISA documents being released. Think of that.
Oh, it's you. I mean, and all but 20-some cats that didn't run for re-election or resign, like that's not an accident. What's his name? Brian? Is it, what the hell is this? Jack Ryan? Not Jack Ryan. That's the guy from Clearing President David. I forget. The Senator Ryan. I forget his name. Somebody help me out. But he was at the peak of his...
Paul Ryan?
He was at the peak of his political career, and he's like, just steps out like that.
It's Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House. Yeah.
That was just insane. Like, really? You just dip out? You Speaker of the House, you just head out? So, I mean, that, again, we wait to see, man, because I was thinking yesterday, Q, like all this stuff about Q. Well, and I asked you during different episodes that we've done on the farm, why wouldn't he drop the hammer before the midterms to pretty much make sure none of whoever was involved, didn't even have a chance at being elected or reelected? But
then they'd be able to reload their gun with a new candidate.
Possibly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you are right, dude, and if
Menendez got reelected. Menendez.
I know.
friggin' ran that scam with that doctor who stole $100 million, and Democrats voters didn't even care about that and reelected that piece of shit.
Right.
So that's what we're up against. And what Ocasio-Cortez, the 29-year-old socialist from New York that gets elected, dear God, New York might as well be a smoking hole in the ground. These people are morons. What are they thinking over there? Free. She's like, oh, we're going to give free college to everybody. We're going to give free this, free that. And then they go, okay, how are you going to pay for that? Well, that's a bit of a complex question.
What you might want to thought of.
Whose houses and bank accounts do we have to confiscate to get that done?
Right. Yeah, I know, man. And so what does this bode for 2020? I mean, you hear people like, some of these close races, like what was going on in Texas, all these women, minorities, Muslim women, Native American lesbian women. I'm not knocking any of this, but the level of diversity we saw.
That's what you just said bodes that, look, America is a melting pot, right?
For sure.
Which is great. That's what we want. That's what it is. But the way you put it, it's like, dude, I'm sitting here staring at my co-host. Who's you're not sweet Polly purebred.
No, I'm just simply stating
I'm a mutt, but the funny thing is like you just talked about other Americans like they were friggin' like they were a trash heap or something. You're like,
no, absolutely not. I'm illustrating the point of how diverse. I mean, fuck, like I said, we have black, white, female, Native American, female, lesbian. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but that's the huge swath of diversity, like you said, we should aim for. But honestly, dude, it kind of reminded me of ancient Rome when Caesar was emperor and he allowed, out of his conquered lands, he allowed some of those people to become senators. And that really pissed off the core elite in Rome at the time, because they're like, dude, these people are lesser than, how are you letting them in the forum, and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, I think, like you said, this is what we strive for. So 2020, bro, what do you see, what's going on in 2020?
I think
are the Democrats going to investigate themselves into oblivion?
I think if Trump's one step ahead of him, two steps ahead of him, like he always has been, he lets them run some investigations for a while, let themselves they make complete asses out of themselves for a while. And does he expose them then with the FISA? I don't know how soon the FISA comes out to expose all of them. Do they get charged? What do they get charged with? I mean, this is about as heavy as it gets. I mean, this is, if true, certain folks in Washington, D.C. have flat out said that if the American people are exposed to the truth on these documents, that they will lose their minds, literally we're going to lose our minds. And you and I pretty much already know what it says. This is complete illegal spying on a president-elect, on a sitting president. This is bad stuff. People get hung and shot for this sort of stuff, doing this against their own government. So, but that's the level of stuff that we're looking at if it's all true, which I think it is. But I think Trump's going to kick ass because of it, because the Democrats are going to do nothing but bitch and complain. We've got gridlock; they can't do anything, so they're going to spend their entire time on bullshit investigations that yield nothing, and Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win in 2020. I mean, wouldn't that make sense to you?
Interesting times. Well, I mean, anything is possible at this point, because I mean, literally, we're dealing with Trump possibly succumbing to the deep state, or Trump playing the deep state, being a part of, like you said,
you believe that from the get-go, dude.
Huh?
You kind of believe that from the get-go, though, didn't you?
I didn't think Trump was going to win. I thought Hillary was so deep state, there's no way they're going to let some lone gunslinger in, and he did. So then it's like, and I still believe that they don't let lone gunslingers in. So it's like, like we talked about on the show, and even Puzikis and other insiders have said, there is an internal war going on between like old school power, new school power, the intelligence agencies. So, who's wagging who's controlling whom. So I still don't know. We could speculate. That's what I'm saying. Either we have all of these scenarios of Trump running this hugely sophisticated sting that you know, no one can comprehend, or he's kind of whatever, you know what I mean? Just going to be playing defensive while these investigations go down. He has to fight for his life, or is he 3 or 4 steps ahead?
Dude, I think he's the fisherman with the dollar bill in front. You know what I'm saying? He's dangling that dollar bill in front of him, dude. They're all diving for it over and over and over. Look what the media. I haven't even watched the news today. Besides the little pieces I saw, the videos online of Acosta being a complete moron. But I'm sure that all the mainstream media is going off on this, and that Trump was bullying him and everything else, and you know, it's all.
I mean, you know,
I don't even need to watch to know what's going on, but I can tell you that that's the narrative of the day. It's Trump's angry. They lost Congress. He's furious. He's going after Jim Acosta. Poor Jim Acosta. He's being abused by the president of the United States. It's just
he was chill the whole time. Trump was chilled. I mean, Jim Acosta was so out of line, dude. He's like,
you're a horrible person. Sit down.
He served him up, dude. He was just like, he was about to go on to someone else. He's like, how CNN even employs you? You are a terrible. I mean, he was being a dick, dude. He had like 2 questions. He's like, give me off the microphone, and the little gal comes up and tries to take the mic, and he did the physical strong arm on her, dude. I was like, holy fuck. It was crazy.
Well, but Jim Acosta strong arm with a woman, that's debatable.
I mean, just him having the nerve. I mean, the dude was like, all right, you've asked 2 questions, you're done. Come off the microphone. He's like, no, I'm keeping the mic. You know what I mean? I'm Jim fucking Acosta, dude. Like, what?
See, the president needs those girls in the room to take that job that are black belts in jiu-jitsu. We get like a Ghazi Parman to take that job. Acosta tries to push her away, and she friggin' slaps him in a friggin' arm triangle and chokes his ass out and drags him out.
That'd be fantastic. Dude, Acosta was out of control. I mean, whatever. I'm not even getting into the Operation Mockingbird media who act like, what? Us? We're the enemy of the state? Why would you say that? Like, fucking shut up.
So there were some other subjects we were going to talk about, and I think they got did we completely forget about what else we were going to talk about because of everything that's happened?
I didn't even have it. I didn't really have any notes for this. I was just kind of going on, and then, you know, the Rosenstein, the Sessions, the, you know, midterm postmortem, what that kind of bodes for the rest of the country, and, you know, I didn't really whatever. I'm
just wondering where Bill Camper is today. I was kind of hoping Bill was going to jump on here. And
your buddy Bill, that guy. How you have energy to do that? I just don't do the Facebook back and forth, man. I don't know.
I love Bill, though. I love Bill. I grew up with Bill. I've got to entertain Bill.
Well, I mean, and you do it, you know, respectfully. You know, it's kind of, when I see the you'll post something or somebody will post something, you're like, comment, like these paragraphs, not just yours, but going back and forth. I'm like, damn, bro, I don't even sort of have the energy for that.
Listen, but see, here's the thing.
Good for you, though.
Here's the important thing about all of that, about the debate. As I said before, the reason I completely, deliberately antagonize the left is to keep the First Amendment alive. I want them to engage in debate with me. I want to have fun with them, because I think that it's very important that they express themselves in any way they want. Now, some have abused it to the point where they've, you know, threatened people and gotten insulting to the point where I've had to just go, look, you're done, dude. That's out of control. You have no brain to begin with.
Right.
But I think it's important. So that's why I engage in so much of that. That's why no matter where I'm at, I'm always looking for an angle to start a debate. I do it all the time. And
debate shit.
But God bless the people I work with. You know, I don't need to say where, but a lot of times they'll just shake their head and go, here we go. Here we go with this asshole.
No, but I am absolutely with you, and this is what I feel we're lacking, whether it's Facebook or face-to-face, being able to civilly discuss and exchange ideas. Hey, Pat, I may not agree with you. Articulate your position. Or Jeff, explain your position. You might actually learn something instead. And I say it all the time. We're a country where we don't have our opinions anymore. Our opinion has us, and there's just so little flexibility when it comes to dialogue. It becomes like,
but the thing is,
you're stupid, Pat, or you're XYZ, or, you know, it's just the debate gets debased.
Jeff, I don't, here's the thing though. You and I base and most of our stuff is based off, our, for whatever, term you want to use, our knowledge of the Constitution. I'm no scholar on the Constitution, but I know enough of it to recognize when it's being violated. I know that, each administration that comes along violates it more and more and allows for laws to be passed for the next administration to abuse it and wipe their ass with it even more. So, eventually it gets.
And that's something to definitely be aware of. But I think our conversations go go beyond the Constitution to geopolitics and history and understanding history. So when we come to things like talking about false flags, people look at us like we're crazy, whereas history shows is festooned with false flags throughout, centuries, if not, it's through all different kinds of countries. So our awareness of history and understanding that these precedents have been set help us easily understand and identify when we see it now. When other people who don't see it's like they have no frame of reference. So they're like, we're crazy because they don't have any understanding of that historical precedent.
And it's extremely frustrating and those are the people that I have short conversations with. Right. I can tell you that last Friday night in Providence, Rhode Island, we were celebrating. It was kind of a bummer. It's the Access TV and CES will no longer be broadcasting CES events in Providence, Rhode Island. For whatever reason, we just have ended that agreement with them. And so we were celebrating their crew and our crew, just having a good time. And the owner of the restaurant in the Renaissance Hotel there, which is a beautiful hotel, it was a Masonic lodge built. They started to build it in the 20s, I believe, early 20s, and then the Depression hit, and they stopped building it, and it was left empty for, I think, probably 50 years until they turned it into a hotel. But it's a beautiful, majestic building there in Providence, Rhode Island, right next to the Capitol building. Anyway, downstairs, the owner of the restaurant, which is called The Temple, ironically, and there's a square and compass in the tile floor right down there. It's really neat. He had a Make America Great Again hat on, a MAGA hat, and he was holding it in his hand, and he asked me to come down to the end of the restaurant there, and there was a guy sitting there who was with some fighters, and he had a question for me. He goes, "What does that hat mean to you?" And I said, "Well, I guess what that means is that's his First Amendment hat. Might as well say First Amendment on it. It's what he believes." He goes, "No, but what does it mean to you?" And I go, "That's what it means to me." And then he said, "Well, I'm from North Carolina," and he started to confront me and get kind of aggressive about the stuff that went down in Charlottesville. Okay, and I'm getting to a point here with people not knowing anything. And he goes, "Do you think it's cool that white supremacists are able to march and cause problems and riots and stuff?" And I said, "Well, there was more than one group there, number one. Two, it's their First Amendment right. Do I agree with them? No, I don't agree with them. But you don't even understand how those people got there, and that the guy that organized the white supremacists there was the guy that was organizing the Occupy Wall Street for the liberals, a decade ago. So he's paid by the CIA. He's on the CIA payroll, and you don't even know that. So our conversation's useless. You don't even understand how it happened or why that stuff all went down, dude. It's all to cause division in this country and to cause people like you to start arguments with me for no fucking reason, right?" And so at that point, he kind of wasn't able to keep up, and I walked away and went and got some food. But those are the type of people that I can't even hold conversations with because they have no frame of reference, as you spoke of.
Yeah, and I've said this on the show before, and this isn't about either you or I having all the answers, but the word ignorance means uninformed, and I've said this on the show. People's ignorance on history, the Constitution, all these different things is and has become very dangerous. For something like an Antifa to basically go out and behave in a fascist way in Portland, Oregon, directing traffic, standing in the middle of traffic, and the mayor of Portland, Oregon, allowing this to happen. It's just like the world has been seriously inverted. The reality has just been seriously inverted in many more ways than one, but this is definitely one of them.
So how does it happen where scrubs like that are able to stand in the middle of the street and nobody does anything about it? People keep driving. People trying to get through it and don't even stand up to them. That's the thing. I think What happens when I just saw Randy Couture might be still listening. If Randy's still on here, say hi, Randy. If it's a guy like Randy Couture driving through that intersection in his vehicle and they start harassing him and threatening him, how does that work out? That doesn't work out real well for them.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. It depends on. I mean, it's Portland, Oregon, so I don't know how many. Not knocking Portland's a beautiful place, but I don't know how many of those kind of.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
It's beautiful. Up the Northwest is somewhere I've always wanted to go.
Are you saying it's hard to throw a left hook with a needle hanging out of your arm?
or a fucking big cup of coffee, or whatever they do up there. But it's like, I don't know. There's no
good head movement born in Starbucks.
Right. I think it's going to escalate to that point. I've already seen it, dude. I saw one the other day, an Antifa dude threw something at some guy. I don't know if he was former military, but the dude was jacked. And he just came across with a right, and the dude just, like, tree fell. It was like, ooh.
Oh,
I mean, and we're going to...
Yeah, that was the
we're going to, I think, see more and more of that as... it's not even a doom and gloom scenario. We've talked about it with Sonny Puzikas, former Russian Spetsnaz. You and I have had private conversations, Navy SEALs. A civil war is almost inevitable.
I don't know. I don't know about that. You got to.
Yeah.
The only way that would happen would be there would have to be a significant false flag of people who represented Antifa to initiate a massive violent attack on folks who are more constitutionally based, for the folks who are constitutionally based, who are law-abiding citizens, to lash back out. You know what I'm saying? There can be no fight with someone who can't fight. You know what I mean? And
right.
For the most part, given a small percentage, the folks on the left, they have no idea really ultimately how to fight. I mean, they don't.
Well, and it wouldn't be some kind of symmetrical warfare.
And here's when I think back through all the fights that I've seen, especially street fights, especially scraps that just happened organically, and even fights in the cage, right? People who had the most to defend and were kind of righteous in their fight, usually the vast majority of the time they come out on top anyway. So the thing is even, I don't know how mentally ill you have to be to actually fight to the death for socialism, right? Yeah, it's very puzzling to me how someone could actually fight until their dying breath for the right to get free shit, right?
Well, I don't know if that's how committed they are. I don't know if they're fight to the death type people. You might be able to take their Xbox and then they'll yield. You never know. But per what you're talking about, I'm not seeing a symmetrical warfare where it's one side versus the other. The tactics of a lot of these Marxists and leftists goes back, Che Guevara and this and that. I'm seeing a guerrilla warfare where, improvised explosive devices. It's not a face-to-face because they know they're outmatched. So they have to engage in guerrilla tactics. Look at like the Weather Underground and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, what came of that? What came of that? Besides them going to jail and then their socialist buddies coming into power and getting them out of jail.
Very few of them went to jail. The only one that I think went to jail for any real time is he was involved with a bank heist with the Black Panthers. But the head, Bernardine Dorn and Bill Ayers, I spoke with Bill Ayers in our documentary class for hours. He went on to teach at UIC, where he's teaching right now.
How that happens, I have no clue, brother.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, if it does go into that kind of warfare, I don't see a side against side as far as physical clashing. I see more guerrilla type tactics, but I could be wrong, and Oh, Pat, someone's asking you, what if they punch you when you're not looking, and then they spray you with mace before you can respond?
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to wrestle when you're blind. Right? You don't have to see to feel. So that's one thing. We practice that a lot, actually. Close your eyes.
Really?
Close your eyes and wrestle. Well, think of that.
There you go, Steve.
Think of how many kids out there, the School of the Blind. I remember the kids from the School of the Blind being great wrestlers, but the rule was the referee, you had to start locked up with them. You had to tie up with them and then start. And once contact was broken, the ref would blow the whistle and you had to tie back up with them. So they had to at least feel you for the wrestling match to continue.
Well, that's why they always say when you lose a certain sense, your other ones are kind of enhanced. So without being able to see, your other kind of kinesthetic or sense like that is probably enhanced to be able to feel, I don't know. I've never been blind, but I've always heard that.
Steve Rita said that's how they attack you, and he said, "I am a referee."
I mean, but that's true though. They're not going to come face to face. They know what's up, so they have to sneak attack or whatever it is. Numbers. They have numbers most times, so I think it'll get ugly, dude, if something really, really goes down. But I hypothesize. We hypothesize all the time. I see more civil unrest happening, if not full-on civil war. I see more civil unrest happening.
I'm just glad I'm in Iowa. You better get back to Iowa and get out of St. Louis, buddy, if that's the case.
Yeah, dude. Believe me.
So we've had some interesting conversations with some radio folks of late about the Conspiracy Farm and the Everything Combat podcast, which both are big. And people can chime in. The thing that I've been concerned with was and I'm the one that came up with the damn name, the Conspiracy Farm, but I think that we need to change the name to get even more sponsorship and make more money, and Jeff doesn't believe so. So we can still talk about the same material, but I think that the title, the Conspiracy Farm, actually might be scaring some people away. Guests, not only guests, but the money people. So you people that are listening to this can chime in and tell us what you think, whether we should change the name of it or not. But the Conspiracy Farm, the T-shirts are pretty badass. Jeff's got one on now.
Fucking right. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to get into too much inside baseball in our conversations. But we've set up a brand. This thing has been going for 3 years. It's global. They know us by this name. And I do understand what you're saying about the monetization and kind of how it is difficult to do. But I think that will come with time. And I think Everything Combat is exactly what we're looking for as far as commercial viability. I mean, come on, dude. We had on Mark Taffet. We got on George Foreman coming up, Bruce Buffer, and just really, really big names that are just, can we say who you booked today?
Yeah, Dan Gable.
Dan Gable. Are you kidding me? So as we continue to just grow with this show, I think that's going to be where the dough comes. I just want to be able to have two separate kind of conversations. Our Conspiracy Farm, where we kind of take no prisoners, and then a much more kind of civil conversation, like we said, talking about life stories, C.T. Fletcher overcoming, heart transplant. We don't need to get into, drinking blood out of baby skulls on Everything Combat. That's my opinion.
No, we don't. Thank you. I appreciate you putting that.
But I don't want to have to censor ourselves because, oh man, you know what I mean? I whatever.
No, yeah.
So chime in, ladies and gentlemen.
Because that's what we're dealing with mainstream media, and our criticism of mainstream media is the people that have thrown money into advertising on mainstream media are the ones that dictate what they talk about. So on mainstream media, they can't talk about the truth on, say, for instance, the pharmaceutical industry and other things that are going on that we can because we receive zero money from the pharmaceutical
which goes completely against why we're here. You know what I mean? We want to be able to speak the truth, uncensored, unfettered, you know what I mean? No restrictions. So ask, everyone out there, all of you guys listening or whoever does listen to this, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. But what if we change the name from whatever? If we change the name from the Conspiracy Farm, even though it's everywhere across the world, what is your opinion on that
the
move?
Theory Farm. So there's a start.
The Theory Farm?
It just doesn't sound right. The Conspiracy Farm kind of flows, right? Theory Farm makes sense.
Dude, when you first said that, when you're like, Jeff, do you want to do a show with me called The Conspiracy Farm? I was like, bro, that is so freaking dope. You know what I mean? Because the term conspiracy, I think, like we said in our first show, I get it has a negative kind of connotation to it. But the Conspiracy Farm, you and I from Iowa, and then the graphics that we got that my boy Brian Sauer did with the barn and the satellite above it, get out of town. You can't beat that with a bat, brother.
Hey, dude, I'm just saying, I'd kind of like to have a studio in my house. I guess I kind of do, but I don't. I needed to be in the Mark Levine nondescript underground bunker out in the cornfield too, bud.
Which we have all day with Everything Combat, all day. Joe Myers, I love the name. Keep it. Shelly Shaner, keep the name. Woot woot. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so let's go back to Sessions and why he was told to step down. Is that also, or just simply because the legalization of marijuana?
I was gonna say that I don't know where that comes in. Where's that? I don't get that. Is he that like anti-marijuana that he's? I didn't get. Someone was saying that to me. I thought
he's extremely anti-marijuana.
Well, so was Trump, and then he kind of came around and was like at least willing to, Oh, by the way, I think it was Prop 2 here in Missouri, medical marijuana, ladies and gentlemen, in the Mizzou.
Well, I can
not
tell
to
you,
advocate this, by the way.
I can tell you that I have a banker who's ready to loan me the money for a facility here in Iowa if it were to become law.
Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to take.
Because
I mean, eventually it'll happen.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was really anti-marijuana for a long time, just because, I mean, I experimented with it when I was younger. In reality, when I was younger, I thought it was no big deal. But I can tell you that I can't really. It's not like I can smoke pot a lot, right? Because that's just
right.
I'm not productive. I'm not a Joe Rogan who can friggin' memorize everything. I don't have a photographic memory. It more than anything, it would just make me a zombie, right?
Well, I mean, getting into the understanding of these kind of things, we now understand the medical application. Indica is what makes you tired. Sativa, cannabis is what, that's what Joe smokes. That shit called train wreck. That's, so there are uppers and kind of downers.
Right. So, but where I've become a believer is because of the significant amount of damage that I took as an athlete, as a professional athlete, and as a coach. A lot of joint injuries, a lot of severe spine injuries, a lot of things like that, and where, the injuries were causing me problems, along with my allergy to wheat and soy, the gluten allergy, where the relief to my joints, the pain, a lot of other stuff that is relieved by not the THC version,
CBD,
but the CBD version, which doesn't get you high. And that has helped me a great deal. So that has made me a believer in it. And I think that a lot of people are starting to come on board with that, because a lot of people are using CBD products, CBD oils, things like that, and they're starting to get a lot of benefits. And then you see people with Parkinson's and a lot of epilepsy situations where they're given the THC oils, and it completely goes away. It disappears, and it's incredible. You can't deny the medical side of the stuff, whether it's CBD or THC now.
Well, even from a rational standpoint, bro, I mean, it's like those things you just listed as far as medical applications. You can't do that with whiskey. You can't do that with booze. You can't do that with nicotine. I mean, the fact that something like, however many prison terms have been handed out, or just lives ruined because these guys have been smoking a plant and maybe get thrown in jail, or
so James,
this denial of the medical applications.
Now you can see on the screen James Kohler.
Yeah.
Says I have a medical card. Said I have a medical card for me, much better than what the VA offered. Sure, I'm not the only one. And that's the cool thing, James, is I've talked to a lot of the veterans that reach out to me, guys who are having a lot of problems, man, that it's tragic. So many of them are committing suicide and stuff, but I get a chance to message back and forth and even talk to a lot of veterans who are having trouble. And that's what I recommend for them. I tell them, get off of the drugs, man. Get away from the VA and get the CBD oils and the tinctures and the THCs and a lot of natural Eastern remedies.
Yeah.
A lot of the
but it's just on its face, isn't that just insane on its face that it's been this struggle to legalize something that's been around for thousands of years and has so many applications? But yet we're inundated with, smoking ads or drinking ads. I mean, look at the damage. However many hundreds of thousands of people die from a year from both of those. So it's just like, and even the pharmaceuticals.
Then you get into the Oxycontins and all the other hardcore stuff, and the
pharmaceuticals, fuck yeah.
Right. I mean,
it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Well, obviously it does it's a money thing, obviously. It's a financial thing.
I witnessed a doctor. I witnessed a cardiac doctor try to prescribe cholesterol medicine to someone who's very close to me, cholesterol medicine, right after He just said, all your arteries are totally clear. An anti-cholesterol medicine. And I said to the doctor, because the person who I'm very close to asked me to come to that doctor's appointment to follow up with them. And I looked at the doctor and said, what did you just say? Did you just say that their arteries are 100% clear, but you're going to prescribe cholesterol medicine to them just in case? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
And I mean, I almost lost it. I almost became unhinged on that doctor, because how many people out there has he said that to who went, okay.
I know, right? I know. Well, and then now the link they're finding between cholesterol medicine and Alzheimer's, because those anti-cholesterol medicines eat away at the good cholesterol in your brain that help transfer the neurons and the neural pathways that are covered by this stuff called myelin. It's basically a cholesterol, and those cholesterol drugs are eating away at that. So that's crazy, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Again, just the inversion of reality, brother. The inversion of reality.
Right. So, anything else you want to discuss there, tough guy?
Shelly Shaner said, I just sent CBD to a girlfriend who's got breast cancer, and it's helping her with numbing her hands and feet, hopefully shrinking her brain tumor as well. Good job, Shelly. Good job. Each one teach one, girlfriend. Anybody else have anything you want to chime in before Pat and I dip out? Pat's busy. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to join me or not. Obviously, he's always welcome. We got Les Stroud and Eva Bartlett coming up. Haven't exactly locked it in, but sometime either this week or next week. And then we do have George Foreman.
Oh, and sorry. Yeah, not to cut you off. Randy Bunton just chimed in. Randy and I recently were introduced. Randy's, Randy ordered the phone cover from the conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
He showed it to me.
One of the, yeah. Yes. He sent it to you?
No, he showed it to me. I was sitting next to him.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's some pretty cool ones, dude. So a clear one or a gray one and then a black one.
Yeah, he got the clear one.
Very cool. So, yeah, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the TCF store is up. Christmas is coming. A lot of those things, socks, hats, cell phone covers, mugs. They make great stocking stuffers. So go to our Conspiracy Farm page on Facebook. You'll find the TCF link pretty much linked to all of our shows.
It just dawned on me. We need our own Conspiracy Farm CBD oil.
Ooh. My sis, shout out to my sis. I love you so much. My sister just got her other hip replaced yesterday. She has had bad hips over the last few years, and it's really messed her up, but she's got both of her hips now replaced. She is convalescing. I love you so much, sis. She said, I started using CBD oil to help with her pain, and it's been awesome. Shout outs to Candace Wilson.
I'm glad Candace is doing a lot better after her hip surgeries, and now that she's got the titanium in there, she won't feel any more pain. But bad hips must run in the family, sis, because your brother can't dance.
She knows that's a lie. Are you kidding me? What?
Oh, dear.
Your ass can't dance. President of the Rhythmless Nation over here.
Leslie Whitmore just chimed in and said they supposedly have created a vaccine for people allergic to wheat and gluten. Well, I just won't eat it. How's that? That's
right. Exactly.
That's my vaccine.
How about I do that? Fuck.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I don't want the vaccine. Thank you. That's scary. We have a vaccine to make you be able to eat wheat and gluten. You'll still be fat. You'll still be fat from it, but you won't get arthritis from it. Maybe.
My sis says, ask him to show you his breakdance moves. I still have my youngest daughter has it now. It's my first place trophy from 1983 or 4. It was a breakdance competition where I got first place, and I still have that mug.
Will you sign a piece of card? Will you sign a piece of cardboard for me? Autograph a piece of cardboard.
Dude, I used to have that in my backyard, dude. Cardboard or linoleum. Get a big chunk of linoleum, spray it down with pledge, and then dry that bad boy off. You can backspin like a champ, man. I used to kill it.
You should have got into jiu-jitsu. You would have been a world champ. All that breakdancing.
I rolled a little bit, but I just I do need to actually. I really enjoyed that quite a bit, man. I mean, with the wrestling back. Yeah, I need to get my fat ass into something like that because I don't like seeing 210 pounds on the scale when I'm stepping on it.
Uh-oh. So I'm flying out tomorrow, going to Phoenix. Going to call another LFA fight out there in Phoenix. Good fights out there for Access TV. So if people are people are bored on Friday night, tune into Access TV and watch some great fights.
Yeah, I thought you were heading out to Orange County. Is that next week?
That's the week after, yeah. The week after I'll be in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
And then the end of the month in Dallas, Texas, which we're both trying to get down there for that.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see that happening, man. As much as we raise the flag or try to, pass the hat to help us get some dough to help get some of our, to help do some of the stuff we want to do as far as it relates to the farm, video
let me see how many
content.
miles I've got on my United account. We might be able to figure something out.
Yeah, so Pat and I, we're trying to get down. Pat's going to Texas because he's announcing the fights, but we wanted to go down. I wanted to go down, do a couple shows, train with Sonny Puzikas for Everything Combat, and then the anniversary of the Kennedy assassination will be that weekend. So we wanted to go over to Dealey Plaza to hook up with some of our farmers for the conspiracy farm. So when we asked to kind of pass the hat, it's not for our own self-aggrandizement. We kind of, I'm a part-time bartender and other part-time jobs, so I'm definitely not wiping my ass with money. So, we kind of need proceeds, fuel to keep the machine running and for us to be able to kind of do stuff like that. But if not, we'll just stick with the podcast and just do what we can. But any assistance is very much appreciated through PayPal or the TCF store. But, check your miles.
And check into digital currency. Do we have a digital currency account? Can people donate digital currency?
We can't yet. Rediker was supposed to hook us up with that this summer, which we could still link up with Mark Rediker over at Colo Hub. Maybe he can get that set up for us.
Colo Hub's quite the facility. People can check that video out on YouTube also, correct?
Data mining facility was absolutely insane. The guy's, cooling costs were like $15,000 a month to keep all of his computers cold, which is
sounds like a jet engine in there.
I know. It's like a Harrier jump jet taking off.
Yeah, so... yeah, lots of stuff going on, man. Lots of stuff going on.
Interesting time to be alive as always.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, Crichton is the author. Look up a book called Eaters of the Dead. The reprint of the book was called The 13th Warrior, and I just mailed that book. I just mailed that book off to a royal family member in, I won't say which country, but in the Middle East, who I spent some time with not that long ago. And that book is one of the coolest books I've ever read. I found it in the seat of an airplane that I was riding in. Crichton is the author. Again, Eaters of the Dead.
What?
It's about. Is
it Michael Crichton?
Yeah, it's the journal. It's the journal of, in I think the 9th century, an Arab who was sent as a dignitary to another part of the world, and he got basically sidetracked and was hanging out with Vikings, hanging out in a Viking city or village, and a whole nother group of Vikings showed up in a ship and said, "We need you guys to come and help us defend our city because it's being attacked." They believe it was like the last of the Neanderthals were attacking them.
I guess a movie. My boy Hoop, what's up, Hoop? Miss you, brother. I guess there was a movie made out of it. I guess he saw it.
The movie isn't even. That's Antonio Banderas is in the movie called The 13th Warrior. It's no.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't even come close to the book. But so anyway, this Arab goes with these Vikings because the 13th Warrior is considered the good luck charm, the non-Viking that has to go into battle with them. They always took a non-Viking into battle with them as their good luck charm. So he was the guy that basically he had no choice. He had to go. So he jumps on this ship and they end up in another area wherever they sailed to. And these battles, these attacks on their city happen over and over and over at night. These Neanderthals are wearing like bear skins when they go into battle. And it's absolutely insane, but they're cannibals. So they would drag the bodies out. Anyone that they would kill on the walls and stuff like that, they would drag the Vikings away and they'd eat them. But it is a badass because it's based on the actual diary of this Arab man who was basically a diplomat who ends up in these crazy battles. It's a badass book.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say that name sounded familiar, but yeah, they always like to mess up movies when they turn them, take a good book and mess it up.
Right.
Cool, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be on my favorite pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee at 7:30 tonight. I think I did post something about it on my Facebook page if you want to check that out. Listen to me chop it up with the boys on some wrestling. But again, next week, Les Stroud, Eva Bartlett, a reporter from Canadian reporter who just knows all too much about the real stuff going on in Syria.
WrestleTalkPodcast.com, is that it?
WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Boy, I can't wait for it. Much respect to the champ, dude. They love you, dude. We got to get you linked up with those guys, man. Get you on their show, man. Those
Dude,
are some good people.
I just had our one of our EBS operators a few months back give me a DVD of the old AWA. Is it the old AWA? The old black and white stuff? Dude, it's crazy. I went and watched that on my laptop and went, holy cow.
Who was it? Do you remember some of the wrestlers?
Well, there was, I think, Superstar Billy Graham. There was some really old stuff. Yeah, Vern Gagne. The old Vern Gagne.
Yeah, that's AWA then. Yep.
Yeah, dude, that was
Do you know at a certain point in time in the 40s and 50s, the highest paid people on the earth was the heavyweight boxing champion and a few professional wrestlers, one being Lou Thez.
Lou Thez. So the Lou Thez award at the Dan Gable National Wrestling Hall of Fame is that's the Lou Thez award. It was named after him.
Yeah, and then they got that Cauliflower Alley. I think Dan Gable's in that Cauliflower Alley stuff down in Waterloo, Iowa, I think.
Oh, and on a comical note, have you heard the new song by Adam Sandler, UFC Ears?
No.
It's hilarious, dude. You gotta. Anybody that's listening to this has to go pull up on YouTube Adam Sandler's song UFC Ears.
That's comedy.
It's classic. Phoenix Carnivale pointed it out to me on our last trip, and it's really good. It's really good. Check it out.
I like Phoenix.
You like what?
I like Phoenix. She's easy to look at.
Oh, please. Here we go.
But anyway, I was very polite and respectful. My God, she's easy to look at. How much nicer can you get than that?
She's a bright lady. She's very good at what she does. How's that? She's very professional. She's a good broadcaster. How's that, Jeff?
Nowhere in what I said did I say she wasn't.
Instead of this schoolboy crush bullshit.
Oh, Jesus Lord. All right. Strictly the professional. Pat Miletich, the Croatian sensation, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a good time chopping up with you guys. Like I said, we got a couple more episodes coming next week. And do not miss the conversation with two-time heavyweight champion gold medalist George Foreman. I am so looking forward to that, champ.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, peace. So much love. 7:30 tonight, WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Come holler at your boy. Later, champ. See you soon, buddy. See ya. How to feed a hungry man, the man handler.